Okay, I am online. All right. Hey. Welcome all of you. Welcome all of you out there, wherever you're at and watching this recording. That's cool too. I'm going to continue teaching about the Dharma and what that process means. To explain, the Dharma itself means the law. And when you're coming from a place that's very materialistic, you think laws are, you're good, you're bad, things like that. And, you break the law, you go to jail, Those are the laws that I might be talking about. I'm not talking about laws like that. I'm talking about laws of nature, laws of God, things that you see in the Ten Commandments, things that are included in our virtues that manifest into vices. And when you break the law, then it's going to manifest into a vice. There's no way around it. And the problem is that most people aren't aware that their actions, their behavior, their speech, where they choose to live, what they choose to do, all that is whether or not they are compromising the law, because the law would be more aligned to a person's destiny. And we don't know what destiny is unless we're talking to a Dharma teacher, that can align, better understanding behind destiny, lifestyle, things like that, in order to heal us, which takes quite a while, But in order for us to align, to become one with our heart center that creates destiny rather than manifest destiny, there's a triggering reality inside of humanity, a natural response that's inside of humanity, and it's the bodhicitta quality. So when Buddha was leaving his body, and the final part of his teachings was the fact that everybody's going to believe that he's leaving his body, he doesn't come back, and all this Kali Yuga is going to take place. And it actually happened about 1,000 years or more before Buddha came and went, But we moved deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into darkness, from the time of Buddha to the time of Jesus, through Krishna. It just got darker and darker and darker, and more corruption and more elimination of religious understanding, learning, study, understanding, getting impressed by transmission and receiving transmission and having that transmission make you into a holy person. And then you build a monastery, or you build these relics that become relics, these things that you imbue with light. And through that, by people going out and going to the relics and praying in the monasteries and having contact with these masters who go through this process, and it's never lost on earth. And we know the science that we need to follow the path of connecting with masters who have previously incarnated, receive the transmission, have it wake us up so that we can follow our own destiny. And we don't do anything like that. We don't do anything like that. We have destroyed the relics. We sell them, we get rid of them. The Dalai Lama talks about tukus as, no real value, there are too many of them, things like that. And that's the very thing that makes the relics. They're the very people who's going to build the monasteries. And we're such a dark time, that even the heads of Buddhism and stuff are deteriorating the ambition and the understanding of 5 certain factors that have to be maintained on earth in order for everybody to be okay. And when they start diminishing, when they start falling apart, the last one is relics. You get relics by going through a life and learning and having a teacher and going to school and imbuing that light into your actions of merit and good karma. All of that, it becomes a relic. You leave behind enormous transmission into the earth and into the people, into the village, into tens of thousands of people in your lifetime. And that then goes into other people. But if we deteriorate that, if at some time we go into that in our life, it's so hard as a saint, and it's so hard we can't recapitulate, and so hard we're not going to try, and all of a sudden they take over Tibet and they kick us out, and it's now even more hard, to try and try and try, and then 30 years, 40 years after that, the leader of your Tibetan Buddhism tells you that your protector is the devil, and you can't pray to that anymore. Yeah? So, now Buddhism and all the people following it, at least in Tibetan Buddhism, are inside of a scourge that is determined to get rid of their ability to practice Buddhism and to gain from it. They have to destroy. That's what the Dalai Lama said. Destroy all relics of Dorje Chungden, made manifest by masters. Destroy all temples that sanctified Dorje Chungden as masters. And that was all the way up to 1945. The leading teacher, leading protector, the lineage head of all the lineages was Dorje Chungden. Yeah? And yet, because we're out of the monasteries, we're no longer with the school, we're no longer with the teachings, the Rinpoches have scattered, then this terrible person can leash out on everybody, the fact that, and let me remind you, Buddhas don't reincarnate, so don't put your faith in me reincarnating, because I don't have to, He says shit like that, and that really takes away all of the last of all 5 qualities that it takes for us to establish Buddhism. For us to establish it. If we wipe those 5 qualities away, we wipe away humanity. And we also establish earthquakes, disasters, annihilation of planet Earth, wars, everything that we've got going on today, everything that we are coming out of, some magical form is manifesting into our world that has transcended us from Third World War to Fourth and Fifth World War, to stopping all of that. All of a sudden, bang, we stopped. And we started going into peace and solar and travel into space and all these alternative things. You got to put your energy somewhere. And if it's all put into hate, if it's all put into war, if it's all put into I'm German, you're Russian, and I'm American, and all you're going to do is fight if they tell you you have to, then it's going to give us an enormous, constant, life after life after life, burden of wiping away our karma, our merit, and giving us the experience of being a killer, a murderer. No matter how many people you killed, you see a person go down after you've shot that person, your heart will never be the same. You will be in shock forever. Your best friend shot right next to you. You're in shock forever. Yeah? And you see it over and over and over. That's what war's like. Yeah? And entering into that instead of humanity, which has no war whatsoever, peace, love, camaraderie, friendship, fellowship, brotherhood, sisterhood. I mean, that's truth. That's truth. That's the law. If you break the law, by karma, you get all the rest of this shit. You get all the rest of it. Including earthquakes, including tornadoes. Yeah, you can build Kathmandu and think it's the holiest place with all the temples, more temples than any other place on earth. But it only takes one day to put them all on the ground. And that happened. Good, enormous number of the temples of Nepal were wiped away. And the relics that were inside of them, no longer, they had to put them in a different place. They had to lose their sanctification because they were put there by the saint, anointed by the saint. If you mess with any of that stuff, you really, you lose the benefit of consistency of light, a turning of a cycle of a wheel that consistently keeps turning the wheel of light, of life, the tree of life. Yeah, if you study our stupas, in the center of every stupa is the tree of life. Tree of life. It's not a Christian thing. It's not a Jewish thing. It's not, a thing. It's a truth. It's a truth. The tree of life exists. Yeah, and when we put together a stupa, we put together enormous reverence, for everything that goes in it. It includes relics, teaching, prayer books. Yeah, it includes pieces of a person, great masters, clothing, shoes, yeah, things that are relics that come from living beings that transformed the mundane process of being just a regular old person into being a person who radiates light consciousness, yeah, and raises up millions of people in a lifetime. Rather than ending up on the street corner asking for a quarter. Which way do you want to go? You could end up that way in your next life if you don't plant your seeds correctly. Yeah. So Buddha, everybody, Dalai Lama included, everybody says Buddha never comes back, reincarnation is not a fact. And he knew that. He knew that was going to happen. He knew it. There wasn't anything he could say about it. He could say, I'm coming back and expect me and this and that, because he knew he was coming back in many emanations. Padmasambhava, Milarepa, all these different manifestations in life, one life after another. Yeah? And you can't give people your information. Oh yeah, I'm going to incarnate as Veracona. I'm going to incarnate as da-da-da-da. Yeah? And they're going to, is that him? Is it really him? Spend all my time working out what people believe to be knowing the future. Yeah? Prophesizing the future. Yeah? Even though I could see it, Buddha could see it. Yeah? But it's not a good idea to talk about it. Not a good idea to tell other people about it. Because then it enters the astral plane. And that's the other thing that went wrong. That everything that was taught by Buddha was translated by people who didn't understand what he was saying. So then all those translations go out, and that literally decays the dharma, the teachings that came with those teachings. Decays it. Yeah. And then that decays the process of people learning, recapitulating, establishing their light. Yeah. And being able to bring about change in the world, rather than watching, more mundaneness, more a lack of understanding, more of a lack of, because as time goes on, we actually lose a lot of understanding. We absolutely cannot. We look at the pyramid. Nope, no idea. No idea. Yeah, extraterrestrials for darn sure. Yeah, there's no way we could have done it. But with consciousness, it's built in to building a stupa. All you got to do is go to talk to the masters. Not an astrologer, not a new age person who writes books. Yeah? But the masters who build stupas. Stupas are pyramids. If you want to know about pyramids and what's inside the pyramid and how the energy of a pyramid works, you talk to the scientist who builds the stupas. Yeah? But we don't do that because we don't have any education anywhere whatsoever in any area. It's been so taken down, so wiped away. Yeah? Even the lamas and the rinpoches do not have that information. It's not carried over. The great teachers are gone. The ones who would really realize it and make sure that those are put in the study as translation, as a clarity of understanding, so we can better help everybody understand the world that they live in is a sacred place. And relics are everywhere. But what if you don't understand relics? Well, you're just going to tear it down and build a town out of it. Yeah? You're going to use those stones, and you're going to build Glastonbury, and you're going to build Street, and you're going to build other places, made directly out of sacred reality. Because as time goes on, we become more irreverent. And that irreverence includes our interpretation and our past understanding of the relics, the objects that is left behind. or any education that's left behind. We misinterpret it. We don't understand it. Yeah. Even people who believed in Krishna and read everything. By the time Krishna came and gone, the consciousness was dwindling so fast, that everything he said was wiped away. If you study Krishna, you'll find out that was his life. Everything he said was wiped away up to the day he died. And then he was shot with all these arrows, from a hunter who knew he was shooting Krishna. He knew it, and left him to die. And then I show up, Maitreya, of all people, himself shows up, Krishna and the other highest being on the planet, the incarnation of Sanat Kumara, Maitreya, And you can read this in the Srimad Bhagavatam, It talks about the death of Krishna and how he died and who he was with on the day he died. And he was with himself. And Maitreya was sitting there, known as Maitreya Rishi, and he received all the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. Everything we know about Krishna was given on that, throughout that time. And he was able to receive it because he had nothing against Krishna. He had good karma. He was a highly enlightened arhat. But everybody, every single being on this earth was Krishna's enemy. And they defiled him. They put him down. They beat him as a child, all the way through, every single bit of it. Even the things he built a city. But he had to build the city outside of India because India was impure. The people of India were impure. They could not take the heart of Krishna. And that's all he wanted to do, was teach people the relationship of the power of Krishna is inside of every heart, including trees and animals. Everything you see. If you could see, you would see Krishna. You would see it. You wouldn't see the person. You wouldn't see the tree. You wouldn't see the bird. You wouldn't see anything. You'd see the tree of life. And there is a being behind that tree of life. And that's what Krishna was trying to tell everybody. But that didn't fit with the standard education at the time. The model of gods and the model of this and that. Because previously there was this being said, and previously there was that being said. And all throughout his life, all there was giants and demons that he had to kill that no one else recognized. They were either invisible, hidden in a lake, or whatever. But he was the only one who saw them, witnessed them, fought them, and killed them. That's all he did. And when he taught people, the people spent all their time debating whether or not what he's saying is true, whether or not that's relative to what is real, whether or not, everything had to do with, all religions that were being expressed. So Krishna, close to the time of the end of his life, he starts talking about how he's going to have another incarnation. And the next incarnation, he's going to be known as Gautama. And they wrote it down, And Maitreya's going, oh yeah, Gautama, man, we know. And he's going, that is going to be my incarnation as avatar. A full incarnation, I will incarnate as Gautama. So when I do incarnate, the name Gautama will manifest, and it will become a sacred thing. Buddha, Gautama Buddha, Siddhartha, all the things that come with that. But this is a lineage. It's a link between consciousness, the moving of a soul, going from one body to the next, and all that goes with it. So when Krishna was explaining this and putting this out, he was explaining the reality of a thread that connects all things. And we don't really understand that we are connected. Buddhism is based on this connection. But we can separate it in a flash. We willfully can separate it in a flash just by being impure, just by not being reverent. Reverence is the key. When reverence is, irreverence is something that's called personality, complaint, finding fault. Yeah? Imagine Krishna is in everybody. Well, what happens if you find fault in that person rather than Krishna? Then you're going to actually bequeath that person the devil that's within them, recognizing only the devil and not Krishna. Yeah? That's how it works. Yeah? That's a simple teaching that erases the biggest problem, because everything is united. Everything comes through one united being. Everything goes through God. Even all the demigods go through God. Yeah, all of mankind goes through God. Yeah, there's no, I'm a better, bigger, worse, or anything. All there is God. Yeah, so reverence is the key to whether or not we get these 5 certain aspects and qualities that happen within our life. The ability to recognize relics, be moved by relics, recognize a teacher, be moved by a teacher, recognize the teaching, be a student of learning. Make these things in your life. Take them into your life. But they won't manifest unless they're in the world. They are not in the world. Yeah? So, when Krishna leaves his body, or starts to leave his body, he tells everybody there's going to be another incarnation. It's going to be Gautama. And you go down the road, and all the Krishna people, here comes Gautama, and no one mentions the fact that he's the reincarnation of Krishna. No one mentions it, Hardly anybody, yeah? And he can't go around saying, well, I'm the reincarnation of Krishna, because all the assholes out there are disciples of Krishna who really aren't disciples of Krishna, but they're dogmatic, fanatical people who couldn't take Krishna. And Krishna's disciples are the ones that he killed. He killed. He took a bow and arrow and shot hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people who was coming at him, attacking him through a demon. And they were all disciples of the demon. And he allowed a war to take place, and him and Arjuna. I don't know if you know any of these stories. You might want to read them, because they're God. Yeah, they cleared your karma. Yeah, so the weird part is that Krishna kills all these people, kills them all. Arjuna's like, "Are you sure you want to do that? This is not good karma, is it?" And he just keeps, He goes, "Oh well, take it for a fact they're all going to reincarnate and be my disciple. Yeah, I'm not hurting anybody. Yeah, they're all going to turn right around and be my disciple. But I'm killing their relationship to their leader." Yeah? And that's just how it worked. And it did. And those were then the disciples of Gautama Buddha. Gautama Buddha. So you can imagine that wasn't very good. Yeah? Last time you saw them, they were riding horseback with arrows trying to kill him. And that's where the 6th ray's at. You either are one who wants to kill someone or love someone. Yeah? There can't be both. Yeah? And disciples are very fervent, 6th ray people. They're people who will do the worst or do the best. Yeah? But the problem is that they will do the worst. And they'll follow the devil. They'll channel. They have psychic ability. They are not of their own force. Yeah, they're led by all these demigods that is being controlled by God. If they would listen. Yeah, so it's really not about everybody listening to God. It's about the irreverence that everything doesn't listen to God. That's truth. That's truth. That's why there is a law. It's called the dharma, and it's provided in very specific ways, and it creates these 5 processes. Yeah. So I'm going to show you this video. It helps to explain it a bit. This is about Maitreya. When Gautama Buddha came, and at the last of his life, he was asked by a lot, what happens when you die, is there going to be anybody? Because they're all going, you're Buddha, you're going to disincarnate, you don't have to be on this wheel of life, we hate it so much, you got to be with us, right? You hate it, right, you're not coming back, right? And what can he say, yeah, I'm coming back. They'd all just walk out. They just walk out. They don't want to come back. None of them want to come back. They're all thinking this is a way out, not a way in. Yeah, but the truth, you can't help it. The law is the law, the truth is the truth, and we're all heading toward God to serve God and be God's creation. Yeah, not ours, because that is chaos. That is earthquakes. Yeah, to see people be wiped out by floods while they're sleeping. Bad karma, people. Bad karma. This should not happen. Where I come from, I wake those people up. I have them in a car, and they are gone. Because they can hear me. I can move them. It's not trickery. It's not witchcraft. It's not, some kind of, magic radio or anything. It's God. And we need to be able to have reverence and faith in God. And there are many people who have reverence and faith in God, and those people are saved at the hour of need. Yeah, they're not there in those terrible times. Yeah, those are miracles, but we don't, you don't see miracles often enough. Mainly because we are in a pretty dark time. Yeah, we're coming out of a very dark time. We had a very dark time. Yeah, and the process is in the works of changing. Yeah, so let me play this for you. So I'll read this. Buddhist prophecies and coming of Maitreya. In the evil age to come, living beings will decrease in good qualities and increase in utter ignorance, coveting gain, honor, developing their evil qualities, and being far removed from deliverance. That's the Lotus Sutra by Gautama Buddha. All this is Gautama Buddha. Before the coming of Maitreya, the holy religion will decline. How will it occur? After my decease, first will occur the disappearance. What are the 5 disappearances? The disappearance of attainment, the disappearance of method, the disappearance of learning, the disappearance of symbols, and the disappearance of relics. I am not the first Buddha who has come upon the earth, nor will I be the last. In due time, another Buddha will rise in the world. A holy one, a supreme enlightened one, endowed with auspicious wisdom, embracing the universe, an incomparable leader of men, a ruler of gods and mortals. He will reveal to you the same eternal truths which I have taught. He will establish his law, glorious in its origins, glorious at the climax, and glorious at the goal, in the spirit and the letter. He will proclaim a righteous life, holy, perfect, and pure, such as I now proclaim. His disciples will number many thousands, while mine number many hundreds. He will be known as Maitreya. The banner of Shambhala shall encircle the central lands of the Blessed One. Those who accept him shall rejoice. Those who deny him shall tremble. The decriers shall be given over to justice and shall be forgotten. The warriors shall march under the banner of Maitreya. Drought, famine, disease, war will sweep the world. Nations will fight nations, and the larger will devour the smaller. Prophecy of Shambhala. People will no longer have any religion to which they can turn for solace or liberation. The doctrines of materialism will overwhelm their minds and drive them to struggle or their own selfish ends. The lust of power and wealth will prevail over teaching of compassion and truth. Prophecy of Shambhala. In this auspicious eon, 3 leaders there have been: Kakasundra, Kongosmama, and the leader Kassapa. And I am now the perfect Buddha, and there will be Maitreya too. Before this time, the same auspicious eon runs to the end of the years. In other words, at the end of the Kali Yuga is the appearance of Maitreya, which is around 1950. In those days, brethren, there will arise in the world an exalted one named Maitreya. He will be an arhat, fully awakened, abounding in wisdom and goodness, happy with knowledge of the worlds, unsurpassed as the guide to mortals, willing to be led, a teacher of gods and men. An exalted one, a Buddha. Even as I am now, he by himself will thoroughly know and see as it is, as it were, face to face, this universe with its worlds of spirits. The law, lovely in its origin, lovely in its progress, and lovely in its consummation, will be proclaimed, both in the spirit and in the letter. The higher life will he make known, in all its fullness and in all its purity, even as I do now. He will be accompanied by a congregation of some thousands of brethren, even as I am now accompanied by a congregation of some hundreds of brethren. Listen attentively with one heart. A man whose spirit shines brightly, a man whose mind is completely unified, a man whose virtue excels everyone, such a man will truly appear in this world. When he preaches precious laws, all the people will totally be satisfied, as if thirsty drinks sweet drops of rain from heaven, and each and everyone will attain the path of liberation from struggles, the sutra of the great accomplishment of Maitreya. There will come a time, brother, when immoral courses of action will flourish excessively. There will be no word or morals among humans, far less any moral agent. Among such humans there will be no such thoughts of reverence as are a bar to the intermarriage with mother or mother's sister or teacher's wife or father's sister-in-law. The world will fall into promiscuity, like goats and sheep, fowls with swines, and dogs with jackals. Before the coming of Maitreya, the holy religion will decline. How will it occur? After my decease, first will occur is the 5 disappearances. And what are the 5 disappearances? The disappearance of the attainments, the disappearance of the method, the disappearance of learning, the disappearance of the symbols, the disappearance of the relics. The arrogant elevate profanity. The butchers and murderers become leaders of men. Unscrupulous self-seekers rise to high position. This is written by Padmasambhava. Drunkards preach the path of salvation. Guileful impostors claim psychic powers, and false doctrines are devised from the Buddha's word, and the teacher's interpretations become self-vindications. Ideas are established contrary to traditions, by Padmasambhava. Famine, frost, hail govern many unproductive years, releasing disease, horrible epidemics, and plagues, which spread like wildfire, striking men and cattle. Written by Padmasambhava. I think we know where we're at right now, huh? No rain falls in season, but out of season. The valleys are flooded. Written by Padmasambhava. Earthquakes bring sudden floods, while firestorms and tornadoes destroy temples, stupas, and cities in an instant. Written by Padmasambhava. That time, however, will come to an end with the coming of Maitreya Bodhisattva, the future Buddha, who will appear on earth and teach dharma to the people of the world, and this will enable an emergence of a new spiritual world order. So that's what Gautama had to say at the end of his life. Yeah? And if you go through my teachings and listen to all the things I talk about and why I keep saying dharma, law, and all these different things, and how I say these attributes and qualities and characteristics changing, illuminating humanity, in order to get relics, how are we going to get relics when you don't even go to school? When you don't go through all those things, all 5 things, you have to go through all 5. Yeah. So what I did is that I created my pujas. I created my etheric weavers, my vajras. I gave you my relics. Yeah. And we can share those relics. Yeah. And that'll change whether or not you have reverence or not. Yeah. You just become more, whoever you are, whatever you're doing. But as time goes on, these relics have a profound effect on you. Yeah? And then the puja has a profound effect. And the science that comes with it, that you learn from the teachings, has a profound effect. So it's really a matter of getting all these 5 qualities, these 5 abilities back into humanity in order for this to kind of straighten out. Yeah? Because, they say, okay, I'm going to be doing this and I'll bring about all this change. And we are in a really bad situation. Yeah. And, how can I do such a thing? What is going to happen over the night? Like Disneyland, like Disney, a Walt Disney movie, Star Trek or something like that, where spaceship comes and we all get elevated into higher technology and we're smarter and more carefree and, all that, whatever ideology or ideal that you can come up with is your solar plex. Has nothing to do with me. Yeah? Your solar plex just runs off amok into, Elon Musk theory or this theory or that theory and, and what is your reason for being here? You'll come up with all kinds and you'll assume you're right most of the time. Yeah? Just simply because you have this strong 6th ray. And the irreverence of a 6th ray is self-consuming thinking. Does that make sense? Self-consumed. Imagine all the people out there who are mentally ill and take their life. They're self-consumed and they can't get out of it. And the only thing that they can come up with is to end their life because they know this is only going to get worse. I can't take another day of it. And they're so self-consumed that they're going to commit suicide. Yeah, they get that overwhelmed as to how they're going to do this. Yeah. And getting out of the irreverent aspect of the world that we're in, the situation that we're in. It's energy. It's vibration. It is about relics. It is about sacred place. It is about teaching. So I built Shambhala. And I give teachings, twice a week. I sit here and I look at my website and see how many people are watching this. And 45 to 50 people, period. And it doesn't matter how long the teaching is online. It doesn't go beyond 50. 50 people is it. And that, I believe, is pretty bad. I believe that's pretty bad. But I also believe that people have their own commitment with the devil a lot longer than they have ever made any agreement with me. And you're lying to yourself if you think that's not the truth. And I'm trying to tell you the truth. And you can't accept that truth, so I'll build the monastery. I'll give the teachings. But no one else will be building the monastery. Everybody else is, not having the energy for it. They don't understand it. They don't have the vibration of past life relic or past life teaching for recapitulation. It really does require this using your life for soulful purposes. Using your life for soulful purposes. And it is difficult when you have the opportunity to be a car salesman and you make it through your life, and you die at 65 and you were a car salesman for 45 years, and you think, well, I did well. I had 3 kids, I had 5 wives, not so bad, I'm still alive, still kicking, really, really, Well, guess what happens when you come back? You come back half of what you left. Half of what you left. Because you didn't build anything. You had twice as much when you incarnated last time. But you wasted it away. Wasted it away. That's my important teaching. That's the law. And there is no other law. There is no other teaching other than the fact that we are humans, and humans can listen, can hear, can have telepathic rapport, can go through enlightenment, they can attain Buddhahood into a Buddha state of consciousness. No animal can do that. As long as you're humans, and you want to remain humans, you need to do exactly as I'm trying to express. And it's not like, well, maybe in a couple years. It's not like that, because the right-hand path is hard. The left-hand path is easy. You're in charge in the left-hand path. The right-hand path is destiny. And you don't know shit. You don't know anything. But on the other side, well, I know where I'm going to go home. I know where my car's at. I know where my shoes are at. I'm in charge. I'm it, And you're just going to go right to hell and come back and play this out again. And devastation after devastation. You come back to a place that has so many earthquakes and you're wondering, Jesus, how do we get past all this? Build up and earthquakes and build up. And that is our inevitable process over the next 30 or 40 years. Is earthquakes and disasters and weather and greenhouse effect and a learning process of extreme ignorance of humanity, not listening back in the 60s when I started giving the teachings about the greenhouse effect and that we needed to not go fossil fuel. We need to think about electric cars. We need technology to be advanced so we can have solar. We need these things we need to do. I was saying that in the 60s. But most people, there wasn't anything you can tell people in the 60s. They're all smoking a cigarette while I'm talking to them, And it's just like today, well, I'm not putting that mask on. You know, you can't tell me to take that. You ain't that shot. You can't tell me to do that. Nope, can't. It's the same people, just reincarnated, and they're just as stupid as they were in their past life. But I was there. I got them to stop smoking. They die. You're walking around today. You don't feel like smoking anymore. It's because I spent a lot of time with you in your earlier period of life, before you reincarnated into this life and you don't feel like smoking. Many of you don't feel like drinking anymore because it is the law, people. It's the law. We are a temple. We are the pyramid. We are walking light. We are transformation of light. We are transcendental. What does transcendental mean? Transcendental means that any given thing that is stuck can be transformed through you. You can move mountains. Angels move through you. They want to move through you because they're not physical. You are. All you got to do is allow yourself to be a channel of God. And the forces that you don't have the right to know or feel or experience. Because you don't know relics. You don't know God. And if you miss that, those qualities, those characteristics, that's everything that makes everything wrong. So my job, my work, is to give the teachings of the Dharma. To turn the wheel of the Dharma. And it's not my job to make it easy, because it's not easy. Following a very slow path, So many people, how many people will not leave their town after an earthquake? Won't leave their town after tornado, after flood, after flood. Yeah, we're just going to rebuild. We're real Virginians. Ain't knocking me out of my town. My grandpa lived here, died here in a flood. Never thought about that. So did my 2 kids. Wait. Gotta go. It takes that. The soul is something that is hard. When your soul comes in, it's because usually you go through some hardship. A major hardship, a major loss, a major heartbreak, a major, to where you got to really think it out. You got to really feel it out. You got to, that hurt, And even finding out you're going to die, and all the ridiculous plans you had and all the things that are so important and, I'm dying. I probably only got about 6 weeks to go. I don't think I need you to tell me what to do right now. I'm going to go and live. Well, in any way that you can. And that's something you should have learned a long time ago. You got to always treat every day as though you're dying, as though you are dying that day. Not that. Don't be the pitiful person who goes, because I can feel my heart beating. I'm going to have a heart attack. Oh God, Dr. Devil. Don't do it. Don't do it. Because if you've ever studied energetic medicine, the word itself can cause a heart attack. So don't prejudge your physical condition. Don't say it in word. Don't put it in your mind. Study. Let it become revealed. And then find ways naturally to help it, cure. And practice the right thing. Stretch or do the things you got to do to make that a better thing. But don't go into the process of, this is what you got and this is, oh no, because you're actually building it. We're healers. And the one thing as a healer, when you go in to heal someone, you don't really want to know anything. Nothing. You don't really even want to know their name. You just want to just bless them. Transmit God's blessing. You're there. You're a blesser. You're blessing. I don't need to know shit. I don't need to know why, or anything, Just sit there. That's what I call soul therapy. I'm so good at it, I can do it omnipresent all over the world simultaneously and actually be there. Actually be there. Yeah? Because we're that good. That's what we could do. We can all do this. We can all do this. But yet, most of you are going to die of really horrible circumstances because you're not allowing yourself these 5 qualities. Yeah? To have an artifact, to have a sacred object, you need to pray and meditate and learn and study. Do all the things, all the 5 things you're going to do, all those in a daily practice. Yeah? And then the negativity leaves you, which means that you're pulling impurities out of the earth. You're taking them out, getting rid of them, transmuting them with your soul. With your soul. It's not magic. It's required. It's the freaking law. That's why I almost give away etheric weavers. So you'll practice the law. You'll live within the law and a lifestyle of being a saint. I give you an etheric weaver, you start healing people, you'll learn, oh my God, look here. I'm healing people. I'm a healer. Yay. You know? And it does bring out the saintly quality of realizing that transmission of God is effective. All my tools are extremely effective. Yeah? And they're relics the moment you get them. Yeah? Because they come with me, which is like millions of years old. The science that comes with me created your electron, created the entire organism that you're sitting in. Imagine organism. Yeah? God's relationship to life is Tantra. Instead of having a self-orgasm, God has a cosmic orgasm. And that's in happiness, in joy, and seeing the evolution, the outcome of a plan, and following it through. And it's a constant orgasm going on. Yeah? And that's because the material side is the female side. And it's reacting and responding to the male side. Yeah? And that's Tantra, knowing that inside of everything is spiritual over material. Just like God is in heaven and angels are in heaven, they're invisible, you can't see them. Well, all things in matter in the soul and all things that you can't see are also in matter. Yeah? You know, so there's a two-way benefit. One from the material side of things, which becomes relics and becomes, the influence of transmission, all the way, to the side of awareness, to where we're actually discerning, discriminating by nature, rather than it being something we have to intellectualize and work with and figure out and all that stuff. Instead, everything works within revelation. Yeah? Yeah. We don't know the working out of the plan. We don't even know that there is a plan. Yeah? But the process is that we need to have these like putting the relics in and making it possible, building Shambhala, calling it Shambhala, have it be real Shambhala, yeah, with the real Maitreya avatar, yeah. All these are real things. These are things of truth, yeah, and they come back around. And Shambhala is one of the greatest truths in the cosmos, not just Earth, but the whole cosmos. Maitreya comes from Tushita. That's a whole other freaking planet. Bigger than the cosmos we're in. And all the Buddhas surround that particular reality. Yeah? So when I'm here, that's what the transmission comes with. Yeah? That's why he said these things. When I come and I do these things, and yet he can come and he does those things, he's not the one. And when Maitreya comes, it's after many, 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 many lives of establishing the relics and the recapitulations and the monasteries and the history of sacredness during the Kali Yuga. Imagine, do that during the Kali Yuga. And if you study Padmasambhava, you'll see that's exactly what he did. he went into the land of demons, which they call Tibet, and he was told that it's all demons, all what's known as Bon, yeah, which is an opposite to Buddhism, but they would use Buddhism to call upon the different deities that was recognized in Buddhism and claim them for psychic ability so that they can have psychic powers using demigods and influences the relationship. And find demons too and influence relationships of power in order to create the Deva, yeah, and create a different form of, instead of Mahadeva, yeah, it was the opposite, yeah. So everybody in the Bon was fighting or up against Mahadeva, yeah, the Mahasiddha, yeah. So everything that came out of Padmasambhava was create Siddha from Mahasiddha to go against all of these demons, yeah, in the false teachings of creation of the Kali Yuga, which is defiling everything all throughout the earth. Everything, all history, war, everything was coming out of those regions by their behavior as black magicians, yeah, spinning darkness into the world, yeah. You know, so Padmasambhava goes in there, builds stupas, and establishes the teachings that I'm giving right now. Lama-ism. Lama-ism. Made it, after a while, you know, it became a culture. After a while, every family gave one of their children, yeah, a son. And after, I think, about 600 years, we finally got to have nuns. Yeah, and that was in Mustang and a few other regions where we had incarnations and incarnations of purity coming in that were able to bring manifestation because mankind had separation in their heart. So with male, female, you know, the meditation aspect was focused upon one aspect, utilizing the male aspect and bringing that as high as it possibly can so that it becomes compassionate, so it then could bring in the reality of the female aspect through incarnation and start recognizing Rinpoches and Tukus who are females. Yeah, and that was done through Mandarava and many, you know, other females during the lineage time of Padmasambhava and the reincarnations of Gautama Buddha and Maitreya, myself. Yeah, so all that was against the Kali Yuga, against all the dark forces that were coming together and manifesting in the world. Was this little team that I personally was establishing. And that's all Tibetan Buddhism. Every single bit of it is me. It's my personal work. Every single bit of it. There's nobody that holds anything to it. I was the reformer every time. I reestablished every single group, you know, and I had to branch off from one to go into another because we had many people that would fall, you know, like Taisat Rinpoche today, like the Dalai Lama, the confusion of the Karmapa, the difficulty of, you know, the Panchen Lama, you know, all the things that are happening today is due to the falls that were happening, you know, up to this time, yeah. But if we can recapitulate, that's why I come as Maitreya, and I'm a recognized Tuku. I'm a member of this group in Tibetan Buddhism. I hold the highest ranking position in almost all of the monasteries, you know. So I'm literally blessing out what it was that got in, the negativity that got in, yeah. And I'm calling it, you know. I'm saying, no, Dorje Chögyal's not bad. I'm sorry. Even in the middle of all this, even while you're saying it, all I can say is that's not true, you know. And I will stick with that, yeah. And that kept me from being more recognized and being able to come out into public, because, you know, the Dalai Lama was saying the very thing was the opposite of what I was saying, yeah. You know, so there's a lot in the influence of humanity that's going to change for all of us to move into this dharmic activity. And the dharmic activity is based on law, and the law is based on the fact that we recapitulate what comes from the teacher. It's not what comes from yourself. It's what comes from the teacher. Yeah? And as time goes on, more time, yeah, time goes on, you gain faith. That irreverence turns to reverence because the teacher keeps coming back. Just like what I just told you. I came as Padmasambhava. I came as Gautama. I came to Krishna. I was Maitreya. I was talking to myself at the worst possible time, where I should be really heartfelt, breaking down in front of this guy. Instead, I'm holding it strong so I can receive his monad and receive his teaching and get it out into the world. At least one person to do that for an incarnation of the avatar before he died. That was amazing, yeah? And that same thing was transmuting on and on and on. That whole process is what fought against this illusion. Yeah, because imagine if he had died and nothing had been said. There had been no Srimad Bhagavatam, there had been no real teachings. You'd never known that Gautama Buddha was going to become another avatar, the incarnation. All of that would have been lost if Maitreya hadn't sat down and received those teachings. And then transmission goes on through the next life, and that goes on. All these avatars, other avatars, previous incarnations, previous students, all come back around. Yeah? But most of them fall. Just like the 12 disciples of Jesus Christ. They all fell. All of them. Yeah? But not the ones in Srinagar. Yeah? Not the great yogis, yeah, that studied with Jesus. Yeah? They held it. Yeah? And he lived long. No one killed him, no one beat him up, no one treated him bad. Yeah? He lived another 70 years or 60 years. 60 years. Yeah? Yeah, so there's a whole energy of relics, of vibration, that has cleared the way to make it possible for me to incarnate and come with what I have to bring. Yeah, and it is millions and millions of people who are in this process that I'm speaking about. They have all been through these lives. They have all been there. Yeah, but it's through me that I remember my students. It's through me the student remembers. Yeah? Just like as Babaji. I'd walk up to Lahiri, and Lahiri'd be dumb as shit. An engineer, smarty pantsy, Been an engineer for like 34 years. Yes, sirree. Got kids, got a wife, an engineer, And I meet him, and I said, hey, yo, Lahiri. Yeah, so you're an engineer. Ha. No, you're not. You're not an engineer. You're a yogi. Oh, no. I don't want to be a yogi. This is Kali Yuga. Nobody wants to be a yogi. You don't get paid as a yogi. You can't have a wife. You can't have kids. You can't have sex. Oh, not a good idea. Certainly not the path I'm taking, eh? Every normal person follows that normal left-hand path. Because it's easy. It's what they say, Just follow this, do that. It'll all work out. It never does, yeah? So I show up and I kind of ruffle his feathers, I'd say, hey, you're a yogi, You know me, haven't you? You know me, right? He goes, no, I don't know you. I took him to a couple people who did know me, who had a lot of credibility, and they're going, well, he's my teacher. I said, yep, that's right. I am, and I'm also your teacher. Lahiri? No, I don't need a teacher. I said, well, okay, I'll see you later. I leave, I come back a week or two later with a bowl. Walk up to him, knock him in the head with his bowl. Hey, Lahiri. Yeah, it's me, your teacher. Yeah, you remember me yet? I don't know you. I don't want to know you. I do not want to be a yogi. Don't proselytize me to join your ashram and all this kind of crap. And I said, I don't have an ashram. I don't have a building. I don't have anything. I don't have really a lot of the disciples follow me around. It's just me, right? You just see me, right? He goes, yeah. I said, well, look, take this bowl for a second. And he takes the bowl and it knocks him on his ass, like lightning passing through his body. And he just sits there and cries and cries and cries, and he thinks he's going mad. Yeah. And he can't stop crying, just so emotional, just so upset. I said, you want your bowl back? He goes, leave me alone. You know, I can't stand this. I'm a happy man. I got a good job. You know, why do you do this? You know, I said, hey, take it easy, man. You want your bull back? Yeah. I don't want to touch that bull. Leave me alone. Get away from me. You know, so now I can't give him his bull back. You know, so I leave, go away, and I go get his blanket. And I walk back with his blanket over my shoulder, and he doesn't think anything of it. And I say, hey, Lahiri, guess what? I'm back. Yeah, you remember me now? Yeah? You want your bowl? No, no, no. So I throw the blanket at him. How about your blanket? And it lands on his head, you know, and he's like wrestling this thing, you know, thinking everything is all wrong, and he's thinking all the fears in the world is tackling him, and he's just thinking a snake is all over him or some kind of weird shit. He was having a bad moment, yeah. And then he finally gets it off of him, and he's crying again, and he's slapping the ground, you know, very upset, you know, and just tells me I have to never, ever, ever come back. You know, he cannot handle this. You know, this is too much. Why, if I'm such a spiritual being, am I bringing him so much stress? You know, why am I ruining his mind? You know, bringing chaos into his life? You know, shouldn't I be bringing peace and harmony and answers? You know, I said, nah, man. I don't bring answers. I bring questions. And they're really hard to answer. And I don't bring the answer to the question. You know? I just bring the question, which torments you until you find the answer. Yeah. You know? And he's just going, well, I'm not a yogi. You know? I said, well, here, yes, you are. You know? And here's this blanket, and I want you to keep it. And he kept the blanket. You know, he took it back, and he, you know, sat with it, played with it, slept with it, you know, made it his blanket. And I says, and later on, I come back with a bowl, and I says, well, do you want your bowl now? And I handed it to him, and it didn't shock him, you know. But what did shock him is that I put my thumb to his brow, yeah. And he just stood there, frozen, with his eyes, like, you know, almost popping out, you know. And you could just feel the electricity passing through his body. Yeah, and I gave him Kriya Yoga. That's what happened every time when he received the blanket, when he received the bowl. It was a yogic influence between master and student. If there really is that long process, you know, and energy, then there is this really powerful process of waking up. And the person can't not wake up. Yeah. You know, so it's not a struggle for me, but it's a real struggle for them, yeah? So in his process, it took about a year and a half, just about a year and a half. And he would sit with me just 2 times to meditate, you know, and I taught him how to do Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. And he got off on that so much, he would do it every single day after work, yeah? And he went into the kitchen one day, and he sat in the kitchen doing Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. And his wife was in the living room, and she saw this light coming from underneath the door, and she thought there was a fire in the kitchen, you know. So she goes in the kitchen, and Lahiri's like 7 feet above the ground, just this far from the roof, you know. And he's just, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, you know, with his eyeballs, you know, up like that, you know, the old Lahiri look that you could see today, you know, that was his experience, you know, first time when he hit samadhi, you know, come rushing through his body, he hit samadhi, he's up in meditation, and he recapitulated what was a normal yogic practice that I taught him in previous lives, yeah, you know, so that's relic. People are relics. Tukus are relics. Yeah, objects like planet Earth is a relic. How is it the moon is exactly so far away from the Earth? Well, I would think that it's conscious meditation done by Buddha that caused a magnetic tilt and change within the axis of this Earth, the moon, its attractive relationship, even the size of the Earth and the size of the moon, over billions of years. This process becomes what it is. Yeah, and we're sitting in a geometric pyramid that is holy and sacred. So we're always in a relic. We're always in that. So when I come back and I begin my teaching, I'm teaching through this process of a cosmic, planetary, solar, logoic influence. Yeah? It's not what you think. Yeah, you're going, wow, yeah, he's Buddha. Yeah, wow, he's Jesus Christ. We seen him on the cross, man. That was heavy, man. This is dude, wow, he's like a master. Yeah, we've seen masters in TV. They're like, you seen them in all their white robes. And I'm way beyond all that shit. I'm normal. I am super duper normal. Yeah, and that's because I'm Buddha. Yeah. Buddha has such a charge of inner happiness and joy and perseverance and won't stop until something is finished. Yeah, just there's no end to anything that comes up. It's got to be finished. Yeah, it can't be unfinished. It has to be finished. Yeah, so there's a process inside of us all that allows us to not fall into the left-hand path. Which is the weaker side of things. And the stronger side of things is what comes from the avatar. It's called Narhat. Yeah, it's a flame, the Agni Yoga, the influence of Agni. Yeah, and that's at a much higher level than our little lower solar plex that's running on pity and running on emotions and running on, oh, do you think this person's this or that? Or do you think this is important to do or what? All these things, they're solar plex oriented. They're not brow oriented. Brow oriented is important. We need to do things that are brow oriented, which means that you quietly meditate. You never project a negative thought toward another person, and you quietly meditate and you sense it working out, and then you start seeing people doing what you think should get done. And you have the patience to wait it out. And all the chaos that goes on of not getting it done and why and all those things. You don't go into the process of why and why not. Yeah? You stay centered in the monad, watching it unravel. Yeah? Studying or thinking or whatever, but staying as positive and happy as one could possibly do, because that's the only thing that unties the chaos. You can jump into the chaos and all of a sudden you're the chaos. You're the creator of chaos. Yeah? Just simply because you could see it, yeah, it could get you. Yeah? So it's a hook. Yeah? And in Buddhism, the detached reality of stepping back, being mindful of this truth that I'm expressing, yeah, going into meditation when those moments take place, detaching, that's the next stage. Remember those eight teachings, those get us to these 5 processes, that end up in our life. Real true teachers, real true monasteries. We come back and reincarnate. We really do have a place to study. We really do have a Buddha who is really, really the Buddha, and it's easy to understand the Buddha. It's easy to see the symbols and understand the science and the relics and how it all connects together. That's how Buddha sees it. And yet chaos doesn't see it that way because it can't. It carries another form of thinking, just in subtle thinking, just thinking, oh, you think that's wrong, you think that's right. Discernment and discrimination isn't questioning right or wrong. Discernment and discrimination is peace. It's peace. And then there comes an inevitable truth. And it works itself out. And the plan is God. The plan is the Holy Spirit. It steps in there. But just like picking up an etheric weaver and using it, you have to use yourself to step back. And pull that energy and keep that energy flowing so that the will of God can come through. All right, so let's do a little meditation. Okay, we're going to do the Great Invocation, which goes along with this teaching quite a bit. And we're going to do this invocation, which is the same. Yeah. So when we do this, the principles of I invoke the power, the love, the wisdom of my ashram, soul, and monad is a soulful thing. It's a soulful thing. Yeah. Because you're thinking of a relationship to the ashram, the soul, and the monad. Yeah. So the mind isn't taking anything personal. Yeah. It is seeing something reverent that it wants to be a part of. Yeah. Not separate. That's where it all goes wrong. Everybody goes, I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. Yeah. Well, that's not true. That's the very opposite of truth. Yeah. And if you're impure, come and get your ass kicked. Yeah. It will get cleaned. It'll work itself out. Yeah. And you just got to meditate. You just got to stay within the flow. And it takes a short period of time for all the energy to go away. Yeah. Yeah. So I invoke the power. The power. Yeah. Imagine here we are in a world and the government has power, police has power. Shit, you don't want them stopping you. They have all power over you. He puts his hand on his gun. Oh, shit. You know, I'll get you my license right away. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know, everything. No, because power isn't in our hands. Yeah. And for power to get in your hands, it requires the ashram. Yeah. It's your reverence. It's your reverence. Yeah. You don't want to attract that karma to you. You don't want these things to come to you. It's not in the ashram. That is not in the ashram. Yeah? So you want the power, the love, and the wisdom that allows an ashram to manifest, your soul to be manifested in that, and to manifest monadic activity in life. Monadic. So then guide me into the right activity in the plan. Yeah? Here, I've got arms, I've got hands, where do I go? What do I do? Yeah? I mean, that's who we are. Yeah? Either that or you just go lay down or go sit down and just be simple. But you're still doing the same thing. What do I do? Where do I go? You know, whether you're just sitting there and not saying anything, you're still doing the same thing. Just not in some major way. So, guide me into the right activity in the plan to clarify and stimulate my mind. Clarify and stimulate my mind, yeah? Which means get it out of my lower mind, yeah? I'm asking it, the ashram. I'm asking all the collective souls, yeah? All the souls. And oh man, I'm talking trees. I'm talking animals. I'm talking earth. I'm talking God, the creator of the soul. All of that is where that power comes from. Yeah? Clarify and stimulate my mind. So that brings you up into that. And then transform and transmute my feelings and emotions. Again, bring them up to that. Yeah? You're offering yourself into the ashram, whether you know it or not. And you get what? You get your soul. You get your soul. Because what? You're touching the face of God. The monad. Yeah? It's not about you. It's about God. Yeah? It exists. It really exists. But we have to be in it. We have to be a part of it. Or we're going to walk by relics as though it's just nothing. Yeah? Dime a dozen. Yeah? Go to Kathmandu. You'll find relics a dime a dozen. And to energize and vitalize and heal my physical and etheric body. Yeah? And we go through every day trying to, take vitamins and do this and that and all of that, but still, what is it that devitalizes us and causes us to continually degenerate? Yeah? Well, what if transformation, transmute, feelings and emotions energize and vitalize and heal my physical and etheric body? Yeah? That's the outcome of the ashram. You're a temple. That's how it's vitalized. Yeah, and you can't take this lightly. You understand? You can't take this lightly. Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, I've heard teachings. They're similar to that. It's not like that. It's very important to understand that your breath is a choice of God. Yeah? The spark of your life is a choice of God. The life you have leading from here to the day you die and then reincarnate into another body, such a magical thing, and it is going to happen to you. Yeah? And it's all God. Why not be a part of that? Yeah? If you don't do this connection, yeah, you're just going to go from one life to the next, and you're going to find yourself, in a very samsaric situation. Yeah, and you're connected to the astral body of other people, connected to your mother, your father, connected to all these different. And then you got to unlearn. Yeah. Yeah, people, they actually tell you the genetics that's passed on to you is what makes you interested in certain food, makes you interested in a certain kind of person, makes you interested in a certain kind of lifestyle. Yeah, and it has so little to do with it. It has everything to do with your soul. And when we become more soulful, we become monadic, mano. Yeah? Monotheistic. Yeah? Singular. Yeah? Not separate. Not two separate beings or two separate things we can think about. Oh, I think I'll have cake today, or I have meat tomorrow. Yeah? At least I have those two options. Well, what if the simple life that we awaken to is that the relationship of everything is an awakening process? Yeah, so we have ceremonies in puja. We have certain geometric patterns and things that are how they look, how they take form, how they radiate out. All those things are symbols. Yeah, aspects of our etheric aspect, an aspect of our esoteric aspect, aspects that don't have to do with our material world, that keeps just. It's there, but we have no understanding as to why it's there. Yeah? Yeah? And in order for me to do what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do this, but in order for me to do it, I have to give the teaching that gives you an understanding, yeah, of why, how an ashram is going to take manifest. Yeah? When everybody wants to go, well, I have a choice of whether or not to get a vaccine. I got a choice of whether or not to wear a mask. I'm certainly, the last choice I'm ever going to take is that I'm going to take an ashram as my lifestyle. No women, no chicks, no fun, no, all these things in your mind that go on. And we have no idea. You have no idea that this is my ashram. And what I'm providing everybody is my ashramic activity called change and evolution and transfiguration, transformation, yeah? Transcending past ways of looking at things, guns and, hate and smoking and all that. All goes away because we are an ashram. And you don't know it, yeah? But the more you become aware and the more you begin to agree, you begin the probationary path and you start on the first initiation, and you got to hear these teachings. Yeah? You got to have your own decision. You have to make your own choices. Yeah? Because from that point on, you have to be the one who turns the wheel to go up the ladder in each level of initiation. And you literally find what's behind you is the building of monasteries and the life that you had dedicated yourself to. That's your history. You come back and you have all of this that you've built rather than just hanging and, being a carpenter or something. Yeah? Does that make sense? Yeah. So So there is a normal flow of energy in my physical and etheric body. To this day and every day, I ask this in the name of the Christ to serve the One, all in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So this is, when you say, through this day and every day, I ask this in the name of the Christ to serve the One. You really got to kind of get it in your head. But this isn't a choice. This isn't a choice. This is a ceremony. This is a ceremony. You're there with God. Don't you want to say it? Yeah? The word is really important. Yeah? The word creates the law. The word, to the letter, creates the law. Yeah? And it defines everything, whether it be translation or a way in which you can feel it, the way it can affect you, the way you can change your life. It has to be said correctly. Yeah? It has to be expressed correctly. Yeah? Because it's so simple. There are no deviating points to the law. There are none. Yeah? That's why it's so hard to stay on track. Yeah? So hard. And then you find that it's so hard not to stay on track. Yeah? Almost impossible not to stay on track. Yeah? And that's a bodhisattva. Yeah? That's you're more powerful than any king on earth. You're more powerful than any lunar lord could ever walk this earth and cause harm. Because you've lived a life as a bodhicitta and you've established your bodhisattva vow. Yeah? That I'm doing this, I'm in this ashram, life after life after life. Yeah? You'd be amazed what you come up with. Yeah? The entire government changed to incarnations of the bodhisattvas. The entire government, every government on earth becomes the incarnations of bodhisattvas. Bodhisattvas don't incarnate to fix tires. They don't incarnate to put us in space like Elon Musk. They incarnate to govern. Yeah? To bring about free speech where people at the lowest level are not getting help. That's what we call a political area. Yeah? But in reality, that's where I come from, in Shambhala. Shambhala is the government. And all the people who are going to be in the government are going to pass through Shambhala, and that Washington, D.C., will be an extension of Shambhala. And the House of Representatives, every single office, every single position will all be anointed as a place of power, of fire, of transcending fire. Yeah? Where we fight off war, we fight off fear, we fight off, and we become the most fortunate, the most angelic, the most heavenly realm in existence. Things don't get hit. Things move forward quickly. Things advance quickly because people's cooperation, the collective soul, whether at the smaller level when you're not aware that you're in an ashram, or at the highest level when you've been in the ashram and you're serving in that ashram and you're working in a state of service, like in politics or as a police officer, yeah, or running other major big-ass shit, where it really does take an enormous amount of higher mind, like a bodhisattva or a Rinpoche. Yeah? Rinpoches can handle that stuff. And it's not about handling war. It's about handling peace and saying the right word at the right time and solving the discourse that's going on. That's what Buddhas are for. That's what bodhisattvas are for. That's what bodhicitta is for. It's a science to move us from inhumane to humane to Buddha. Yeah. Okay? So that's why we say this. Yeah. All right, so let's do our invocation. Okay, repeat after me. I invoke the power, the love, and the wisdom of my ashram, soul, and monad. To guide me into the right activity in the plan. To clarify and stimulate my mind. To transform and transmute my feelings and emotions. To energize and vitalize and heal my physical and etheric body. So there is a normal flow of energy in my physical and etheric body. Through this day and every day, I ask this in the name of the Christ to serve the One. All in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Let the forces of light bring illumination to mankind. Let the spirit of peace be spread abroad. May humanity of goodwill everywhere meet in a spirit of cooperation. May forgiveness on the part of all mankind be the keynote at this time. Let power attend the efforts of the great ones. So let it be, and help us do our part. I invoke the holy archangels of heaven. Let the lords of liberation issue forth. Let them bring succor to the sons of mankind. Let the rider from the secret place come forth, and come say, "Come forth, O Mighty One." Let the souls of mankind awaken to the light, and may they stand with massed intent. Let the fiat of the Lord go forth. The end of the woe has come. Come forth, O Mighty One. The hour of service of the saving force has now arrived. Let it be spread abroad, O Mighty One. Let light and love and power and death fulfill the purpose of the coming one. The will to save is here. The love to carry forth the work is widely spread abroad. The active aid of all who know the truth is also here. Come forth, O Mighty One, and blend these three. construct a great defending wall. The rule of evil now must end. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of mankind. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of mankind. May Christ return to earth. From the center, where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, a purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center, which we call the race of mankind, let the plan of love and light work out. And may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Sons of men are one, and I am one with them. I seek to love, not hate. I seek to serve and not exact due service. I seek to heal, not to hurt. Let pain bring due reward of light and love. Let the soul control the outer form, and let life and all events and bring forth to light the love which underlies the happenings of the time. Let vision come and insight. Let the future stand revealed. Let inner union demonstrate and outer cleavage be gone. Let love prevail. Let all mankind love.
Okay, just relax. Okay, open your eyes. Hey y'all. So another little story. There's a lot of illusionary teachings around Sanat Kumara. Yeah, there's a lot in New Age. Says I'm from Venus, and others say that I'm the Lord of Sri Lanka, and all these different things. Yeah, and the truth is that the original incarnation of Sanat Kumara, which comes in 3 incarnations, but they all are the original incarnation, even though there's thousands and thousands of years between these incarnations. But the one that affects humanity the most is the child of Shiva and Parvati. They have a son, and they call him Kumara, Sanat Kumara. Yeah, and if you ever see statues of him, they usually call him Maruka. Yeah, but if you see statues of him, he's a young man. Usually he stands about 3 feet tall, 4 foot tall. Because this is the cycle of the story. He's a young man about that tall. And next to him is a peacock. Yeah, because peacock is an emanation of Sanat Kumara. And so is holiness through the animal kingdom, into the human kingdom, into all kingdoms. Sanat Kumara is the blesser. He's the first bodhisattva. So he incarnates as the child of God, the son of God. Literally, Shiva's son and Parvati's son. So here we have Shiva and Parvati are actually 2 of the same person. Yeah, they're a manifestation of Shiva, Parvati, the 2 divine beings that are in reality, not a duality, not 2 separate beings, but a singular being. Yeah, and out of that comes the reality of Shiva and Parvati. But Shiva is the origin. Shiva is the origin. And out of Shiva comes Brahma, out of Shiva comes Vishnu, out of Shiva, and Shiva is just a consciousness, a point, a dot of blue light. Yeah? And out of that comes all of this that we experience. We experience the Shiva form, and he has a complement, which is Parvati. And we have Brahma, and Brahma has a complement, which is Saraswati. And we have Vishnu, and Vishnu has a complement, yeah, which is Lakshmi. And none of these are personalities. Vishnu's not a personality, even though we see him as a personality, because in our mind, we need a personification to understand this thing, to understand it. That this is a mandala. This is the mind of God, an omnipresent being who sees shit like this, yeah, and holds it in play. Demigods, gods, the whole thing manifested all the way down to matter itself, yeah, starting from gods, demigods, gods, spirits, yeah, all the way into physical matter, ether, turning into matter, gas, oxygen, all the things we have. Yeah, but all of that is and can be blessed, and that's what Sanat Kumara was about. Sanat Kumara was born in a confusing household. Yeah, the father was deeply, deeply tormented. Yeah, by all the demigods attacking him left and right, and he had a strong attraction toward all the demigods' wives. So there was a real problem between him and having a relationship. Yeah, And if you watch it, look at the story. It's true. It's how the story plays out, you know. But this is life. This is duality, yeah. This isn't about ideology or the ideal, yeah. The ideal is in the outcome, yeah. It is the alpha and omega, and what goes on in between is a lot of shit, yeah. But the outcome turns all of that through fire, through Agni, through a force that's inside of Shiva, yeah. That Agni, Sirion, that Agni principle, the fire that creates the elements, literally creates the elements, creates the spirits, creates the angels, creates the demigods, creates a form for God itself. Comes out of fire, yeah? Pyramid, fire, tetrahedron, yeah? All of that is elemental, yeah? Starts there, yeah? So all of that energy, that force, that power, that elemental nature is supposedly in a separate reality inside of us. That's our experience. We experience duality, yeah. But the influence behind Sanat Kumara experiences the two influences of the father and the mother manifesting themselves again through resurrection, yeah. So out comes, you know, the energy of Sanat Kumara, and Sanat Kumara becomes the first bodhicitta, the first bodhisattva, the first Buddha, you know, and then the story goes on to where, you know, the influence of the creation of Buddha, the creation of the bodhisattva, the creation of everything that's known to spirituality in our existence, in all of our existence. It's actually based on a principle of what took place with Sanat Kumara, yeah, bringing all these forces of God and all these influences of demigods and all these spirits and everything together. Sanat Kumara sits in a position to where he can actually talk and see and feel all of them completely on his own, without any chaos. He's not the creator. He's not Shiva. He didn't create anything. He's not Brahma. He's not Vishnu. He's not any of those things, but yet he's all those things. Yeah? He's a certain thing that was manifested by the love that was sitting there waiting inside of God as Shiva and Parvati, sitting, even though they were constantly in conflict, constantly freaking out, constantly. But there was something there. The spark of all creation was there. And when they gave birth to this child, the child became that love. Every single thing, all three aspects, was born in Sanat Kumara. He became the Trinity. Yeah? So he became the incarnation of Father and Mother and Son without separation. It ended the separation. It all came back to the tree of life, to the beginning. Yeah? Interesting story. So that's my story of Sanat Kumara. Thank you. Enjoy.